down and away, and I'll begin to get a little layer coming off, like so. And then up here on the shovel, sometimes you get a little buildup, just a little TLC up there, doesn't hurt. Hey, ALPINE Mountain Sports here. Tonight we're talking about ski waxing and why you might want to be waxing your skis now that it's December. Winter is upon us here in Bend, Oregon. So this ski here in front of us tonight that we have to get hot waxed is a ski that definitely has been thirsty for wax for a little bit. You can see that dry chalky look at the base. Basically tells me that the skier's been going out, getting some days in, but over time that friction wears down the wax and the ski starts to lose its glide. So applying that wax will bring the sheen back to the ski and then look something similar to this ski right here. It has that shiny look to the base. This process we're talking about does apply to Alpine, AT, snowboards, skate, and of course metal edge Nordic skis. My general rule of thumb is for hot waxing is about 3 to 8 outings depending on the skier. Reason being it's so broad again is because some people are skiing just quick Meisner in the morning, some people are going to bachelor all day. When we're hot waxing a ski here at the shop, we will be cleaning the base out, brushing the ski, using base cleaner if we have to. And then from there, once the ski base is clean, we can go ahead and apply that temperature specific wax based on current snow conditions. So first thing to start out on waxing your skis at home is you're gonna need a little bit of equipment. One of the most important things to make the waxing process easier is a little bit of a setup on your workbench. So I grabbed these tonight for a kind of simple construction idea for y'all at home of something you can craft together to make a solid footing for your skis to sit on while you're waxing that ski. Big ticket items for waxing at home is a dedicated ski waxing iron. A common question we'll get here in the shop is when we're talking about getting that home waxing setup is, why would I want to buy a dedicated waxing iron? Why can't I just use the one that's in the closet? First one being is it can make a mess for sure. Also these ski waxing irons have a better temperature regulator, so it's not going to be burning the wax. So keeping that wax or that ski iron temperature consistent is very important. If you do use those regular clothing irons, you can burn the wax. Also, you can burn the plastic ski base material. Next thing you'll need is some wax to put on the skis. Here at the store, we sell some good Swix products for that. On them, you'll see a temperature range. So 25 to 39, then 23 to 14. So that's the actual snow temperature. So like on Mount Bachelor's Nordic conditions, they'll be updating that snow temperature often. So we'll base that off of what ski wax to select for most conditions. And also the temperature of the iron. So you'll see 130 degrees Celsius there and 145 there. Most of the time at the shop here, we're gonna be using that Swix CH8, sometimes the CH7 for most customers. This little guy, that Swix CH6, is reserved for those days when it's super firm snow and cold out there. So when you get that colder snow, it's gonna be a little bit more abrasive to the bottom of the ski because the crystal structure is more abrasive to the plastic ski base material. So that harder wax, CH6, is gonna handle those harder snow crystals and colder temperatures much better. Other things you'll need for that waxing process at home is a nice sharp ski scraper. The sharper the scraper, the easier job you'll have scraping off that excess wax. Dedicated ski waxing brush. This one, for example, is that brass brush. It's a classic, can't go wrong. Good for cleaning out the base before waxing and also for after waxing. So these little guys, Fibertex, they come in a few different roughnesses, if you will, and you can use them to kind of polish the base after waxing, also do some polishing of the base before waxing to clean it off a little bit. Especially for Nordic skiers is a handy groove scraper to clear out that darn channel in the center of the ski. When you get your ski at home and you're gonna wax it, a good thing to do beforehand is to do a quick check to make sure that the base is pretty clean. A good way to clean the base of a ski is you can use a base cleaner on it. Also, alternative to that is just wiping the dust off with a rag if it's all dusty and dirty, and then just gently brushing the ski with a nice brass brush. Go tip to tail, little overlapping strokes, making your way down. Just clean out that ski a little bit, get it ready to accept a fresh wax. So now we've gone through, checked the ski, done a quick brush to clean it off a little bit there. First thing to do is that waxing iron. So I've already pre-plugged this one in. I got it set to a good temperature. When it comes to applying the wax to the ski, it's best to apply the least amount possible. So a good way to go is just start with a very small amount. And to do that, what you'll do is bring your brick of wax to the base of the iron, once it's hot, and I'll have the corner of the iron pointing down, so the wax will drip off the iron onto the ski, and I'll walk down the ski, stopping where the scales are, because we're not going to be waxing the scales with the iron, that's for sure. So it looks like this. We'll put that on there, let it warm up. We'll get a drip going. We'll do a little wiggle, It'll come down, let it drip, and then from there, wax sets aside. That should be plenty of wax. We'll set this iron on here and slowly move back and forth, spreading that wax. Always keeping the iron moving, never letting it sit still too long. And we'll see that nice layer of molten wax behind the iron. That's the iron heating up the plastic, opening up those pores in the base material, and that wax is going to settle in and cool. All right. It's easy to apply too much wax if you haven't really waxed skis very much before. So again, applying just a little bit and then spreading it out with that iron and a nice thin layer on there. Move up to the tip of the ski and put a quick layer up top there. Again, just a little bit goes a long way. The less we put on now, the less we have to scrape off later. Spreading that nice. Just like that. So once we've got our hot wax applied to the ski, that hot wax does need to cool off a little bit. So it varies based on temperature, where you're at, but usually about 10-20 minutes or so at minimum is good. Another good thing to feel is just if the ski is not warm anymore. So right now, especially you put your fingertips on there, you can really feel that temperature. These still are warm. If you're in a rush to scrape your skis, the trick in the winter is to put them outside in a colder environment, and then they'll cool off quicker. The ski's been cooled off, it's been sitting for at least 30 minutes, cool to the touch, good to go to scrape that ski. Dedicated ski waxing scraper, just plastic, really nice sharp edge on it. And with that scraping process, we're always going to start up at the tip of here on the ski, up on the shovel, and then work our way down. I'll grab my scraper and I'll be pushing down with my hand, but also pushing away from me as well. So I'll push down and also away, and then from there, we'll get one scrape. There's a little bit off, but there's even more to go. So we get to keep going until we're not getting any more wax off that ski. And again, we're going tip to tail, direction of travel with that scraper is the best habit. And then up here on the shovel, sometimes you get a little buildup, just a little TLC up there, doesn't hurt. But again, direction of travel, tip to tail, boom. You pretty much go until not much wax is coming off the scraper. Minimal, not really any left there. So now that we've scraped the ski with our ski scraper, we're gonna need to scrape the groove, because this is a Nordic ski after all, so we'll have our dedicated groove scraper to get in there. Simply can push down and then get the groove, and then boom, like so. So another tip, if you don't have a groove scraper, is you can use the backside of a good Bic ballpoint pen. That pretty much fits right in that groove on most Nordic skis, and most adults have those lying around at the house. So I'll continue down here on the tail of the ski with that scraper. Again, going tip to tail, direction of travel. Slowly working my way down, pushing down and away from me. And I'll rotate my scraper around as I go, because the edges do dull out. Rotating that scraper is a good habit. And then again, we're going to be looking at that groove. We got a nice metal edge Nordic ski here tonight. Come into the groove, push down and gently, and boop, just like that. The next thing to do is going to be to buff out that base. So recommended brush for general use is that brass brush from Swix. So I'll grab my brass shot brush here, and then again, we're going tip to tail. Nice and gentle, don't need to push too hard on this guy. Nice smooth strokes, and that's okay there. And then we'll come down the tail, same thing. Nice and smooth, don't need to push too hard. Then from there, those Swix Fibertex pads are really nice because you can use that to kind of clean off that edge of the ski that some of that wax builds up onto when you're heating up the ski. So a little rubbing along the edges there will help clean the edges off, polish them up a little bit, and also you can use that to clean off some of the extra wax and polish that base. on Nordic is you don't really need to hot wax this section. You'll just make a big old mess trying to get hot wax on there. So for applying wax here, there is some paste waxes and topical waxes you can rub on to the scaled portion of the ski. Last thing to do is just to put a little bit of paste wax on that scaled portion of the ski. Just a little dab will do you there. And just a thin layer. Thin layer is usually pretty good. Just to keep the glide up and keep that base saturated. And then once it's dried out a little bit, you can go back in there with your buffing pad, buff it in a little bit more. Alternatively to the buffing pad, you can use one of those nice Fibertex pads to buff that out and rub it into the base a little more. With the scale portion of the ski, if you're just waxing the tip and tail and never touching the scales, that plastic base material will dry out, and over time you're going to get a lot of friction from that area of the ski. So it is important to apply a little bit of paste wax on that scaled portion to maintain good glide, and also avoiding any ice or glopping buildup, especially in variable snow conditions. If you're having one of those days where your skis are just sticking, or your buddy's skis are sticking, and you happen to be carrying a thing of paste wax in your pocket, that can definitely help you out. When we're finishing up a wax here at the shop, of course want to make it look good for the customer, so we'll make sure there's no excess wax on the tail or along those edges of the ski, wiping that clean. All right, so those are a few things that we were running over tonight in relation to what you can do to keep your skis gliding smoothly for the whole winter, to have some good outings out there. When springtime comes and we're putting the skis away for the year, it is a very good practice to put a little bit of storage wax on your skis. What storage wax is it's basically just half of the hot wax. All we're doing in storage wax is putting a thick layer of wax on that tip and tail of the ski to prevent it from getting dried out and the ski can delaminate over time. Just trying to take care of that plastic base material so it's ready for you when the winter comes again. Storage wax, pretty easy to do at home. Just put a nice thick layer on in the tip section. The thicker the better, really, because if you're getting a nice thick coat on there, you'll get some good dripping coming off the edges. And those drippings can kind of help keep the edges in good shape as well for any sort of moisture or corrosion that can happen over time in long-term storage in the summer. Cal here from Pine Mountain Sports. I hope this video was helpful for y'all. Obviously, with the current reality we are all living in, we're not able to really host these wax clinics here at the shop. If this wax clinic was helpful to you, that's awesome. But if you have more questions, do give us a call, stop by. We're here 7 days a week to help y'all out. This ski is ready to rip. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Waxing iron, yada yada.